Okay, what we want to do in this video is create a building block out of 3 simple geometric shapes and then create a design out of that building block. And I want to use vector shapes. I want to introduce vector shapes. I have my layers window open. I'm going to create a new layer, always just for good habit. Make sure black and white's in the foreground there by clicking that little paint chip. And I want to go down here, right above the hand there, you will see, if you hold down on it, you see a rectangle tool, a rounded rectangle, ellipse, polygon, line, and custom shape. You click on the ellipse tool and hold down your shift key, and you can see that you create a nice, beautiful little black circle there. Now, look over in the layers window. What's the difference between this and a raster shape? Okay, let me create a raster shape for you here, and we can compare them. Okay. Now, they look the same, but if you look over in the layers window, the top one, to me, I just envision it's just a container, and we've thrown pixels into it. Now, what happens when we resize that container up? All those pixels are going to be like, it's like opening up a bag full of marbles. They're going to scatter, and it's going to get all blurry. This one, if you could look at it, it's actually a mask that has a hole cut in it, and every time you resize it, instead of resizing a shape that has a bunch of pixels in it, it's just making the opening bigger and smaller mathematically. So let me just show you the difference. If we can actually let me do this to that. Let's break it. You see how that's getting blurry? And if we zoom in on it, you can see there's a blur there. If your designs are blurry, then that's the reason why you're using raster shapes to, you're resizing raster shapes up. Now, let's look at this one, if we zoom in on it. Crisp, 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 crisp. And we could resize that thing up as big as we wanted, and it's going to stay crisp. That's the advantage of Illustrator, say, maybe over Photoshop, is that it tends to be a little bit more of a vector shape program, although we can create vector shapes here as well. Let's create a simple shape. Let's get rid of this raster shape. Okay, so yes, I want to delete layer 1. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to create another shape. Now remember overlapping. We're going to create a building block. From this building block we want to create a simple design, right? 2 simple designs. So we want to go pretty fast here so we can get it all in. Oh, how about polygon? Up here there's the modifier menu, right? I've got stroke turned off. I've got fill black. Let's make the fill white. Whoops, except not on that one, sorry. Let's make the fill black. There we go. Let's create a new layer, and let's go over to our polygon here. And now let's create a white, okay? And we're looking at 5 sides, fine. So I'm going to hold down my shift key, and there is my polygon, right? So there's kind of a neat little wrench shape. Now remember, I can use what, 4 shapes I think in this assignment, and I'm gonna maybe do something kind of wonky like that. I can spin these by doing Control T, right? I can spin them around. Here I've got it's kind of an interesting form group right there, right? And actually, I think I might want to end with that. There's 3 forms making 1 shape. Now, I am going to shift click through on the layers window. I'm going to right click. I'm going to link those layers, okay? Now, I'm going to convert this to a smart object, okay? Now, what that does, the smart object, is it takes those 3 vector shapes and it puts them, best way I could describe it is puts them in a little folder, and it gives me this icon that represents those. So now I can move this, make this big, make it small. It still has all the attributes of a vector in the advantages of a vector shape, right? But it's just 1 form there. Now, step 2. Let's create a design from this, okay? And I'm going to do a separate video for that.